welcome back to Real Simple, where I simplify all things real estate. So last month we talked about new builds, everything that kind of goes into buying a new build, what to look for, kind of the process, all that stuff. So this month I want to talk about how do those neighborhoods even get there. And the reason I want to talk about this is because, most importantly, you have some say in these big developments that are happening. So we're going to talk about the development process today. This is a very detailed process, so I'm just going to give a summary of it all. This process can take years, really. It does take years in order to even get to the point where they start building homes. And then, depending on how big the neighborhood is, a few years, maybe 10 years to get it fully built out, whatever that looks like. So anyway, how does that happen? Basically, a developer buys a large piece of property. So either somebody or a few people own desirable land that has been pretty much untouched. There may be some structures on there that need to be taken care of or whatever, but for the most part, large pieces of property, usually untouched, that they think would be a good fit for a neighborhood. So once the developer purchases the property, then they start working on the plans. So the plans are very involved, very detailed. There are a lot of different professionals involved in coming up with the full master plan, basically, for these neighborhoods. So it's not just a matter of where the house is going to go, where the park's going to go, where the roads and the sidewalks and that kind of stuff, where's that going to go? But they also have to figure out the water supply. Is there enough water supply to supply so many people, however many people are going to live in this neighborhood, and for how long? So what access does this property have to what water aquifers, and how many years can it last for so many people? So there's this whole water engineering plan that's very involved that goes into the plan, as well as traffic. So not just traffic within the neighborhood, but how is it going to affect traffic in and out of the neighborhood? So the main streets, cross streets, roads that neighborhood is going to be against, entering and exiting the neighborhood, how many entries, how many exits, and is that going to affect the flow of traffic in those areas? So those are all things that the professionals really have to look at and dig into to make sure that it really is in the best interest for the public to have a new neighborhood. They can't just pick a spot and be like, we're doing this, and start building. There's a lot that goes into it. So basically, once they get their plan, they submit it to the county. So the county has to approve these big master-built neighborhoods, or any neighborhoods for that instance. And depending on what sections they're in, how big the neighborhoods are and stuff, a lot of them also need to have a specific number of outdoor space, open space, parks, that kind of thing, and schools. They have to account for property for schools depending on where they're located and how big the neighborhood is. So the county has to approve all of the plans. So in order to do that, they hold multiple meetings. The Board of County Commissioners gets together, and they are the ones that pretty much vote on whether the community is a go or not. And like I said, it usually takes a few meetings. They'll come, they'll look at it, they'll be like, this needs to be revised, this isn't going to work, this looks fine. And then the planners have to go back and reevaluate and then come back. So it usually takes a few meetings. But like I said, one of the important things I want you to know as the public is that, like I said, you have a say in these developments to an extent. So these meetings that the Board of County Commissioners hold, usually, monthly, bi-monthly, whatever that looks like, depending on the county, these are public meetings. So anybody really, you don't even just have to be a resident of the county. Anybody can go to these meetings, listen in, see the presentations, see the issues at stake or the new developments or whatever, and the public actually has an opportunity to voice their opinions on these communities. So whether that's voicing in support of the community or asking questions that they'll answer later, or just voicing your concerns with the community, the county commissioners, which again, if you're really involved in your community, you're voting for these county commissioners, right? So then these county commissioners, they're really listening to you about these neighborhoods, your questions, concerns, your support, whatever that looks like. So I recently had the opportunity to be a supporter for a neighborhood that's going in Elizabeth, like Northwest Elizabeth, and I was able to go to the meeting and see the presentation, and I was personally offering my support for this community, having a love for Elbert County and growing up in Elbert County, definitely has a special place in my heart. So I was able to, along with New Dawn Realty as a whole, go and support this developer and this new community that's going in, that's going to really promote growth. I mean, we're growing in Colorado regardless, right? It's going to happen. So we happen to know this developer who's a great guy, has a great team, and so I felt comfortable supporting him and what he was doing and knowing it was the best approach for this piece of property for the community. So anyway, really interesting, but again, you have a voice too. So get involved in your community, see what's going on, see what's going to be built, how's it going to affect you, and then voice your opinion. Write a letter to the county commissioners, attend those meetings, and read off your comments, concerns, questions, whatever that looks like. You guys have a say too in what is happening around you, and I think we don't always realize that, and I think that's really important to know. So that's kind of wanted to share the developmental process with you. Like I said, it's very, very detailed. This is just like a brief summary of kind of what goes on there. But now you know, and hopefully the one thing you take away from this is that you have a voice and you can be involved in the process too. So thank you for tuning in this month for Real Simple. It's always a pleasure. We'll see you next time. Bye.